I literally just took off on my bike all day and ended up in the next town over. And I was like, this is amazing. I felt so free and so alive and so capable, and it was like, oh snap, I could like really go places.
Welcome, viewers. I'm Christopher Smith, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Jalen Bazile. Said it wrong, didn't I?
Bazile.
Bazile. Close enough. And he is a cyclist extraordinaire and a member of the all too awesome Black Foxes, which we will come back to in just a few minutes. Going to allow Jalen an opportunity to introduce himself. How'd he like to be introduced?
Yeah, thank you. Let's see, my pronouns are he, him, Jalen Bazile. I'm from H-Town, Houston, Texas, and have been in Colorado for about the last 10 years, working as an outdoor professional. Like to call myself an outdoorsman. I'd say as of recent have really picked up ultra cycling, which is long distance, kind of multi-day cycling, a little bit of racing, filmmaker, director, kind of like all around creative. And
I mean, wow.
yeah, and we'll get into all the rest. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. That's,
Thank you for
I mean,
having me.
I mean, that might be it. I mean, that's amazing. That's fantastic. So you said you grew up in Houston. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I, let's see, born in California, but then moved to Houston when I was like a baby, and was pretty much living in and around Third Ward up until about middle school, and then my family moved out to Northwest Houston in Cypress, and from there, I was there until about high school, and my mom joined the military, in which my mom joined the Army, in which I then started kind of moving to different Army bases. So in and out of the city, and I think while I was there, I was always kind of looking to get out of the city, and that's when I picked up a bike for the first time and started like biking to school, and kind of have never left biking since then, but proud to be a Houstonian, if I could still rep that after 10 years of being in Colorado. Don't have such a Texas pride like some do, but yeah, I'm proud to be from Houston.
That's awesome. And of course, appreciate and respect your parents' time in the service. So
Yeah, absolutely.
thank them for that.
Yes, thank you, Mom and Dad.
So 10 years in Colorado, what has that been like?
Wow, it has been adventuresome, a lot of adventure. It's had its ebb and flows. I think my favorite season has been the fall. So I've worked primarily seasonally, with the summer being my most active season as a guide or instructor or program director for various outdoor education centers. And so the fall has been like a really special time for me to kind of like exit out of the busy season and really have some time to take away from work and like go take off and explore the state. And usually I do that by bike, and I was a strong community organizer within the kind of Black, Indigenous, people of color outdoor community here, and so hosted a lot of events. And it's been wonderful. I think as a military kid, it's hard to pinpoint what home is. And so my time in Colorado has really felt like home. It's been the longest place I've ever lived. So, yeah.
So you cycle a lot. It sounds like you do a lot of guides and tours and training. What do you do to pay for all of that gear?
What do I do to pay for all of it? I work my butt off. I really put myself out there with taking people out and kind of building rapport amongst community members as a trustworthy outdoor instructor and leader. And so for the longest time, I mean, with this seasonal work during the summer, my days have been, I mean, working some days 24 hours a day, just kind of taking care of the people that I have out, whether we're backpacking, bike packing, mountaineering, rock climbing. I also have been delving into some creative projects with filmmaking, and so that helps sometimes pay the bills. I've modeled, just kind of like worked in restaurants, bartended, you know, whatever I need to kind of support the lifestyle. Yeah.
The Renaissance.
Yeah,
Love it.
very much so.
So let's talk about the cycling more specifically. Like, I know you said that you started by just kind of hopping on the bike and having a love for it. Was there anyone that kind of introduced you to the more serious side of cycling?
That's a great question. I don't think so, actually. There wasn't anybody really there for me with cycling. I got into cycling because I was a track runner. I ran hurdles and I was great at it. I loved it. But into college, I started having a lot of knee and ankle problems, and so my doctor recommended I pick up cycling. And from there, when I moved out to Colorado and started riding a bike, I didn't have a car. Actually, haven't had a car until really like this year. And so I've been commuting by bike, and it's kind of this ongoing joke amongst my friends of like, Jalen, when are you gonna get your own like set of wheels? Because we're tired of picking you up. And so I think having that self-sufficiency and experience commuting really paved the way for kind of this more serious cycling that I now do. But when I first moved out, a lot of my friends were skiers and rock climbers, and I couldn't get anybody to go ride a bike with me. It was like pulling teeth to like convince people to invest in a bike or pick up the bike that they do have and come out with me. And so I did actually for years a lot of solo riding, which was amazing. But then when I started finding people, that's when it became something a lot more special to me. Yeah.
What was that first true experience of cycling that you can recall that kind of put everything together for you?
I want to say back in college, I had like in high school or no, I think in college I had gotten my first real bike that I could like commute on and it was reliable. And I remember the day I got it, I put it all together and it was this like some factory built full suspension bike. And I took it on campus and I meant to just go ride 30 minutes because I had class. And I ended up riding like the rest of the day. And I was like, sorry, classes, not advised, go to class. But I literally just took off on my bike all day and ended up in the next town over. And I was like, this is amazing. I felt so free and so alive and so capable. And it was like, oh snap, I could like really go places, like physically in real life. And so I think then it kind of sealed the deal, like, yeah, I really like this, I really love this.
So, finding this basic euphoria for cycling probably was quite illuminating for you, and you're like, okay, I think I can do this seriously and take this to the next step. Mm-hmm. Did you have like a support system in place? Did your family kind of motivate you, or was there someone or something that helped push this along for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially to where I am today. My family has been a huge support system, and I would say, one message that has always been a part of my family is like, live the life that you're supposed to live. Like, don't worry about doing the right thing as far as societal standards, but really find out and dig in and discover what it is you want out of this life and go for it. And my family has been really supportive in that. And so what that has looked like is, for many years it was Thanksgiving or Christmas or these holidays would come up, and instead of taking off to be with family, it was me going out on these like adventure trips, and really kind of pushing my own limits and seeing where I want to take these passions of mine. And then amongst my community, I felt really grateful, and I am really blessed to have kind of grown up in the outdoors amongst a community of teachers and educators and caretakers who really understand how to help develop somebody's competencies and abilities and skills in a way that really meets them where they are, versus the either like bro culture or this kind of like machismo that we see happening of always pushing the limits. I feel really fortunate that I wasn't totally surrounded by that, and really got to understand like how do I support myself in the outdoors, and not just myself but others, because I was also training and developing skills to be an instructor or a guide. And so I've had a lot of support, people vouching for me, to kind of step into opportunities, people literally like putting me in front of other people to kind of make stuff happen. And then I'd say as of recent, the biggest supporters that I've had come into my life have been the Black Foxes. And that group, we are all like practically family now, but the support that we have is just unparalleled to anything I could have imagined. So yeah, I have a lot of people to thank.
That is great. Community is everything.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Along that same line, what barriers or limitations would you say you have faced along this journey to get where you are now?
Yeah, also quite a list. I mean, I want to say some easy ones like financial barriers. It's like we don't do all this outdoor stuff for the money, and yet it costs and is continually outpricing us as like kind of the core customers. So to even just get a bike and get stay current on kind of the outdoor gear or replacing things has always been a struggle. As I said, I haven't had a vehicle in the longest time, so I commuted by bike. Also just having mentors that I can relate to. I think while I was in a community that was a community of educators and kind of caretakers in that way, it was also a predominantly white community who couldn't understand me. And I often had to kind of cut half of myself off in order to be in that space. And I know that impaired a lot of my learning and a lot of my own development, because, it's like, how are you supposed to show up when you're leaving half of yourself behind in order to make other people feel comfortable, because they don't know, they're not culturally competent enough to even meet you where you are or understand who you are. So those were definitely some barriers. And then I think I want to also bring it back to myself of like my own stories in my head of what I can and can't do have been some pretty significant barriers that I've broken through and still continue to this day and working through. And therapy helps. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. My brothers go to therapy. And I think I'll kind of leave it at that for now.
Okay. So, kind of moving into the now. Mm-hmm. You hinted at it a little bit earlier. Like, what does your calendar look like in the last year?
What a fun question. Let's see. I may have to pull up my calendar. In the last year, so let's see, this is 2022. In the last year, I have started my own company, and so being an entrepreneur has been kind of the majority of the year for me, which has been a lot of relationship building and honestly a lot of just learning on how to set up a company and file taxes and hire an accountant and all the things that we aren't taught unless you go to business school. And so I've been I think also a part of being an entrepreneur is I make my own schedule. So I've been able to pretty much make my own schedule. And this year was also my first year at racing seriously. And so my bike has pretty much taken me to a lot of really cool places this year. Anywhere from California to Oklahoma or here within Colorado, Arkansas, and then across overseas. I've been to Iceland and Europe this year for the first time, which was incredible. And to see other Black people traveling was huge for me. I was like, wow, this is really cool. Yeah, I don't know if I totally answered your question. If there's any follow-up, let me know.
No, that was a lot of travel.
Yeah.
For 12 months. So yes.
Yeah, and I'm grateful it's over. It's like, let's, yeah.
So let's talk about the obvious thing. Who or what is the Black Foxes?
Yes. The Black Foxes is a collective of outdoor cyclists. We are a group of unapologetically Black outdoors people, cyclists, that are aiming to create or really take control of our narratives within the outdoors and specifically cycling. And so, we're not simply a race team. We do go to races and events, but we are really focused on storytelling, opening up pathways for other members of Afro communities across the globe, because we're international, to get into these events. We work with brands and companies to kind of help with their diversity and inclusion initiatives. We make kind of pathways for creatives, Black creatives, to kind of enter into either filmmaking, photography, etc. And then I think a big one is along with the racing is to help get people into a professional space as far as the outdoors. And right now we're starting with cycling, but the goal is to long-term vision is to branch off into many disciplines. I was a rock climber before I was cycling, which I haven't even touched on, but yeah, I think we're just getting started, but it's kind of crazy, we've already done so much. So yeah, long answer to a short question.
No, it's great. How did it start?
It started in the best way. Aisha McGowan, who, if you do not know, is the first female Black pro cyclist ever. And Aisha is an extraordinary person. Her and her partner, Will, were percolating on this idea of a group of Black cyclists, and I believe this was Will's idea, to kind of give them credit. And so at the beginning of 2019, they started reaching out to a few folks to kind of become this group that is now the Black Foxes. And I want to give a little bit of backstory to that, because with Aisha going into this professional space in cycling, the goal is to leave the door open, as it is for many athletes and kind of people that are in her position, is to leave the door open so that we can get more of us there. And so the Black Fox is just one way that she's been able to do that. And so she reached out to 6 of us. There's 8 of us total. And we're all kind of come from different disciplines within cycling. For me, it's more of the bike packing, which is overnight kind of camping on a bike, and gravel racing. We have enduro and downhill with Shanika, kind of crit racing with Shay, and Ray is mountain biking, Alexa is like gravel. So we're kind of a really good mix. And yeah, we all got together. We started planning and kind of really talking on, okay, what are the things that we want to do? So we created a manifesto that has 8 points, kind of each of us putting our own kind of like manifesto point in there. And in 2020, that is when we kind of like went public with it. And it just happened to coincide with the murder of George Floyd, and that whole moment in history kind of paused a lot of things for us. But we had already been working on a lot of it, and so on Juneteenth of 2020 is when we went public and really started to raise the questions of the things that are hit on in our manifesto of like, this is who we are. We want to control our narratives of Black people, because at the time, I'm sure you remember, it was a lot of like, let's save, all the Black people, and it was like, no, we are here and we can do this ourselves. Like, so, 2 years later, 3 years later, probably 2 years later, I think, we've created a documentary. Which is amazing. It actually is just about to go live Friday. I don't know, this will likely already be out, but 25th of November, it'll be a live showing on YouTube, and then it'll be on the Black Fox's YouTube channel for us to watch. And we've attended many events within the last couple of years in order to create our own event, which is, we're gonna be kind of sharing more information about that in 2023. To pretty much have a celebration of the diversity and inclusion within cycling that we have been spearheading, and a lot of organizations and groups that we're alongside are doing that work. So we're going to be all coming together in 2023.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
That's
it's gonna be a party. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
Hope I get an invite.
You will definitely have an invite. Absolutely.
So you said that each of you kind of contributed your own kind of piece, your own manifesto to bring this together. Do you mind sharing what yours is?
Yeah. So mine is manifesto point number 5, and that is to trailblaze, pun intended, to bring about more pathways for more Black gravel riders, mountain bikers, and bike packers. And so with that point, what I wanted to capture is the off-road riding, with gravel riding, mountain biking, and bike packing. And for me, it is really this development of the Afro communities with the natural world. I think we have so much kind of restriction and trauma and kind of complex history with our natural spaces on this, in this nation, on this continent. And for us to really lean in and kind of create intentional spaces for Black people to be outside, very much along with what Ramble is doing, so that we can feel safe and kind of start to reclaim what it looks like for us to be in connection with the natural world. And I think the bike is an amazing tool. It's not the end all be all. So we want to expand farther than that, but we're starting with for me, I'm starting with that off-road biking. Yeah.
Awesome. As they say, we outside.
We out here.
We out here.
Yeah.
And belonging is important. Like there's being in a place and belonging in a place.
Facts.
And I think all of our collective goals are to move into a place of belonging anywhere that you are.
Facts. Absolutely. I 100% support that.
Why is this work important?
I want the manifesto point number 5, or just the Black Foxes in general.
Black Foxes in general.
It's important because right now, I want to say it's important because as Black people, we have had our narratives written for us. I mean, we can go back to the origins of American pop culture, and it is at the origin of American pop culture is the appropriation of Black people. And so for us to create a platform and create spaces that are for us, by us, that value us, that are holding true to who we are, and that are coming from our voices, our photographers, our videographers, our editors, our writers, is gonna allow us to view ourselves in a more honorable and respectful light that is more authentic and genuine. And we need to see ourselves in those ways. It's like if we're told one thing all our lives, then that's what we have to look forward to. And I think one thing the Black Foxes does already is give people a version of us that we haven't fully seen before. And so that is incredibly important in order to build upon a lot of the other, say, manifesto points or just things that need to happen. But it really starts kind of with that representation.
Thank you. What misconceptions do you think most people have in regards to maybe something as simple as race and cycling?
Oh, where should I start? I think one big easy one is like that we're poor, or like if I'm commuting on a bike, it's because I can't afford one. And although that was true for many years of me, just because, I mean, who's not broke in their early 20s? It's no longer true for me now, yet I still commute by bike. And I think a big misconception, and I see that kind of like misconception about how, like, what our financial status is with, showing up to a trailhead and being questioned, like, hey, is that your bike? Or like, where'd you get that? Or like, it's like, yes, this is mine. And that has happened to many of us. There's tons of stories. I think also we have misconceptions about our ability, what we're able to do, especially in this race kind of scene right now, or circuit. It's like, it's like I haven't podiumed or anything, but it's also my first year. And I'm keeping up with a lot of these guys, and they've been doing it since they were like 13. And it's like, this is year one, and it's like, that misconception about what I'm able to do, or what we are able to do, is there. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more that I can speak to, but there.
All right. So, moving into the absolute future, what events or activities or conversations are the Black Foxes involved in, or you'd like to share to get the word out on the Black Foxes?
Yeah. I want to say, let's see, what am I allowed to say? Because there's 8 of us, and I can't spill any beans that are not mine to spill. You will see us at more events. You'll see a couple of us really focusing on going professional, going pro with cycling, myself included. And so next year, if you're in the cycling race scene at all, and I'm not talking Tour de France, however, follow Aisha McGowan. She will likely be in the Tour de France. And crit racing, which is like criteriums, they go kind of road racing. So you'll see us definitely racing next year. And all over the world. I think there's 3 of us who are kind of in the European circuit, and then 2 of us is not a racer. And then a lot of domestic races here. Next year, we are strategizing on an event that will likely happen at the end of the year. So keep an eye out on that. I don't have any more to share except that it'll be blackety black. So please pull up. And we'll have some creative projects coming out. Some film projects. I actually am about to release a film project on masculinity and bike packing, and how kind of the bike has been a tool to help my mental health and my understanding of my own masculinity and the world around me. So I'm pretty excited to release that. The film is called See Us Heal. And with two brothers of mine, Evan Green and Eric Arce. Yeah.
That's exciting. Can't wait to see it unfold.
Thanks.
Cannot wait to see it. What can we do? And I'm speaking for everyone watching this. Like, what can we do to, assist, move this narrative forward? What is needed?
Yeah, you can, one big thing is like show up for your community and for us wherever we are. I think there's so much power in numbers, and so I'll be leading group rides. I'll be doing my own overnights and bikepacking things. So I would love to see us come out there. Even if it's your first time riding a mountain bike or first time sleeping outside, like I got you, we got you totally covered. We want you there. You can check out our store. I think merch, it does go a long way. We have hoodies, we have shirts and kind of all kinds of things. So please check us out at theblackfoxes.com. And then when we do have our big event, please sign up. Like, again, we would love to see you. And shout outs over social media and kind of sharing all that does go a long ways. So please keep a lookout for what we have going on and join us.
That's outstanding. Last big question, two-pronged. Where do you see yourself and the Black Foxes in 10 years?
10 years, 2032. I see myself running my company. So I have a small company called Travel Wide, and I'm pretty much going for like the biking version of Knowles. So I see myself running my company, having kind of like a seasonality, like a pretty on the bike lifestyle, season by season. I see the Black Foxes having a pretty awesome calendar year of events and getting people into races or group rides or having our own place where people can come and kind of have an experience. That is a huge goal of ours, is to have like a plot of land or have some type of facility where we can host our own rides and clinics and workshops. So yeah, I think that will be in store in the next 10 years. It's like the saying goes, whatever you water will grow. And we are definitely watering some seeds right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last one, favorite place to ride and why?
Whew, that's so hard. Favorite place to ride and why? The South Platte Ranger District of Colorado. It's about within 60 miles as the crow flies of Denver, southwest of Denver. And it is the only place on the planet that I have ever felt absolutely at home. I know it like the back of my hand, and it never ceased to amaze me.
That is awesome, and that is a great advert for me to get out there and ride myself.
Yes, yes, please.
Well, Jalen, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time and your candor and the information about the Black Foxes. And that's all I have for you today.
Thank you. I really
so
appreciate
much.
it, Chris. Thank you. This has been amazing. This has been wonderful. Appreciate it.